All right, we're into changing decimals and fractions to their equivalent forms. So I'm going to start off with changing decimals to fractions, and it's fairly easy if you know place value. So remember that when we say decimals, we should say them correctly. We should say them with our place value, either tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, and we should say the word and when we see a decimal place. So to change a decimal into a fraction, all we need to do is say the decimal correctly. So if we look at example 1, we would change 0 and 3/10 because 3 is in the tenths place. And how we say it is how we should write it. So 0 and 3/10. So this becomes 3/10. And then sometimes we want to make sure it's in simplest form. I know that 3 and 10 have no common factors, so 3/10 is in simplest form. I don't need to place the 0 in the ones place, but you can if you want to. But again, it is not needed, and we normally don't write 0 and then 3/10. All right, so if we look at example 2, we have 5 and 74 hundredths. So the 4 is in the hundredth spot. We have tenths, hundredths. So we would write 5 and 74/100. So 5 and 74/100. And in this case, we do have a common factor of 2. 2 goes both into 74 and 100. So if I divide 74 and 100 by 2, I end up getting 5 and 37/50. And that is in simplest form because 37 is a prime number and 37 does not go into 50 evenly. So that would be it in simplest form. Now we want to change our fractions into decimals. So in order to do that, since we know that fractions are a form of division, we're going to divide our numerator by our denominator to get the decimal form of each fraction. Some of you know some of these by heart and you have them memorized, but this is the process on how to change those. So if you don't know them by heart, then you can do the process correctly so you can get the correct answer. So example 1, if I have 3/4, all right, so I'm going to take 3 and divide it by 4. So my 3 is going to go in the inside and my 4 goes on the outside. So my numerator is being divided by my denominator. And then I go through my long division process. So 4 goes into 3 no times. Okay, and since 3 is a whole number in this example, we put our decimal point and annex a 0. And now we bring down the 0. 4 goes into 30 7 times. Let me move this 4. So 7 times. So 4 goes into 4 times 7 is 28. And can we see? I'm going to have to move my camera down for a minute. And then we subtract. There we go. And there's my dog. Go, Sable, go. All right. And then I annex another 0. And 4 goes into 25 times. 5 times 4 is 20. And now I'm left over with nothing. So again, right there. So I don't need to bring down anything else. So 3/4 is 75 hundredths. Okay. All right. So example 2. There we go. All right. So we have 7/8. So again, I need to divide 7 by 8. So 7 goes on the inside, 8 goes on the outside. Okay. 8 cannot go into 7. Go ahead and place my decimal point where it belongs. Bring down the 0. 8 goes into 78 times because 8 times 8 is 64. And we're left over with 6. And then we annex a 0. And 8 goes into 67 times. And go ahead and bring this down a little, which is 56. Okay, so I have a 4, so that means I need to keep going until I get a 0 at the bottom. Annex another 0. 8 goes into 45 times, and 5 times 8 is 40. And now we're left over with nothing left. So I am finished with that example. So 7/8 is 875 thousandths because 5 is in the thousandth spot. And that is how you change fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions.